Hello and welcome to Spotlight Indie. I'm your host, Frasier Armitage, part-time robot, full-time nerd, author of New Yesterday, Time's Ellipse, and A Stitch Between Worlds. And joining me as co-host is the enigmatic, the Right Honourable H.L. Tinsley, Holly. Hi!
Hello. Thank you very much for using my proper title there, Frasier. Very much appreciate that. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I mean, I normally would just say Your Majesty, but obviously,
Hmm.
I don't want everybody to realise your true nobility. We'll just go with Right Honourable to begin with and work our way up, shall we? Is that a
Yeah,
good
that's it. It gives
good
us
plan?
somewhere to go. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like it.
progress. We've got to have an arc. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad to have you back as co-host. It's the
Ah,
best. It's the dream
thank
team.
you. I know. I jumped onto. So we did our first live writer session yesterday. We recorded it live yesterday, so it's available now. And I got serious FOMO, so I had to come back.
Yes, this is what we do. We are so cool that everyone's got the FOMO. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yes, and joining me and Holly is the incredibly talented, the uniquely gifted, and the extremely fascinating author that is Anna Tizard. Anna,
Mhm.
how are you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm good, thanks. Certainly after that introduction.
Yeah, I am fascinated by you, Anna, because you are the host of the Brainstoryum podcast, but you have such a unique approach to writing that I'm just like it speaks to my everything. I just absolutely love it. For all of the people who are tuned in who aren't familiar with you and your approach to writing and Brainstorium, tell everybody what's how do you tell stories?
Right, okay. Well, by the way, thank you for inviting me to the show. I'm very excited to be here. Yes, I write mostly contemporary fantasy, but I do like the weird and particularly the unexpected. And the method that I use, which I play live, in slight inverted commas there, on Brainstorium, is I use the surrealist word game of Exquisite Corpse. So people go onto my website, annatizard.com, and they click my play page and they send me words, describing words, nouns, and an action part that goes in the middle of a sentence. These I jot down and put into the Socks of Destiny, which I hope you will see a little bit later. And I pull them out at random and they create very bizarre sentences, which I use as writing prompts. So yeah, that's what I do. I create stories from very strange writing prompts. We do have to be very inventive. It's mostly short stories at the moment, but I have written a couple of novellas in my series, which is the Book of Exquisite Corpse.
It's amazing. And it's a way of tapping into the subconscious as well as your conscious
Yes.
mind because so much of storytelling originates in the subconscious and we're not really in control of it. The
Mm.
ideas find us. So it's a way of capitalizing on that. And I absolutely adore it. I have to ask, I know you've explained this on the podcast, but I have to ask, why?
Well, to give you a very short potted history of my writing journey, I spent many years trying to write novels, various novels, going back and forth with developmental or editors, which is a very expensive way to learn, and it takes a very long time. And I didn't really come to short stories for a long time because I read quite a few boring ones written by so-called classic authors, which I feel have done a disservice to short stories. But yeah, so I came to it quite late. I found that I just really wanted to break out of this pattern of going around in circles with really long pieces that were very difficult to work on. And yeah, found myself wanting to experiment more. And I just think short stories were that space for me. And also just pushing my imagination to its limits because it's a real challenge. There's a lot of laughing involved, as some of the sentences are just like, no, you can't write anything based on this. But it's just the thrill of being able to make sense of that. But just going back to what you were saying about the unconscious, the French surrealists invented the game in 1925. So it's actually a 100-year anniversary of Exquisite Corpse itself. And they boiled down the game of consequences, if you've ever played that before, into a single sentence. So rather than create a mini story bit by bit, with each person adding a separate part, not being aware of the other people's entries, so it was quite random, they boiled it down to a single sentence. And the first result, we are led to believe, was the exquisite corpse shall drink the new wine. So that's why it's called Exquisite Corpse. And yeah, I just use the same structure, the sentence structure. So you randomize it and put it into a sentence.
I love it.
That's so
And
cool.
what are the highlights of playing the Exquisite Corpse? Are there any results that you've had that have been absolutely stand out that your brain won't leave alone?
There's a phrase that won't let go of me, which I have written. I wrote a novella, my second book actually. If I can just flash that. I for Immortality.
That's a lovely
And
cover.
thank you. Yes, my very talented cover designer, Emily's World of Design, is amazing. And I have to have spirals with everything. It just has to be that weird. But yes, that was based on the lofty portrait of my grandmother, rapidly salivated at the estranged stairwell. So, so I continue to be haunted by the estranged stairwell. So I feel like there's more I could do with that. What does that mean? I think it's ones where it sort of hints at a meaning without quite like telling you exactly what it can be. And I think that's where your imagination starts to open up more, where you feel like it's an expansive result. It's not clear what it's going to be. But with that one, you imagine a portrait salivating at an estranged stairwell, a portrait of my grandmother. It is, in fact, about an artist, a reclusive artist who lives with her grandmother, who's basically also an artist. And on her deathbed, the grandmother asks her to glaze her portrait, which seems to come alive after she dies. So that whole salivating at, it's this idea of it coming alive and the paint dribbling creepily.
I love it.
So, yeah.
But
Awesome.
all of the stuff that you work on is amazing. So you've got The Empty Danger is book one of The Exquisite Corpse. You've got Eye for Immortality is book two, and then Portals and Immortals is like the third collection. But those are Brainstorium Exquisite Corpses, aren't they? Mainly.
Yes. By the time I reached Portals and Mortals, that's when I had the podcast, and I had so many ideas coming and so many short stories. I was like, I have this giant Excel spreadsheet, and I'm like, I've got to put some of these out there. And yeah, I'd got much more into the swing of short stories by then. So yeah, that's Portals and Mortals. I have, again, it has to be the spiral. It must be a spiral. It would be illegal if it is not a spiral.
I feel like I sense Holly is about to spiral over the cover. I feel like yeah,
It's happened already. No, I think I love them. I think they're really fantastic. I'd not actually seen the covers before, so that's completely new to me. But yeah, I really, really like those.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just love how the approach to your writing is so you leave it up to there's nothing that is it's strange. It's a hard thing to put into words, isn't it? Because storytelling is so personal, and yet all of your stories come from that personal place. But what inspires them is this randomness and this almost act of chaos that kind of brings life, its own life to the story. When you compare it to those stories that you were writing originally and struggling to write, how has this approach to storytelling benefited you as an author and a storyteller, do you think?
I think, for one thing, it's sort of it's made me feel less isolated, because I think writing is one of those things, it can't be helped. It is quite an isolated and potentially isolating craft. So it's really good to be able to open up and share with people. And also, I love featuring other people's ideas on the show. So there's always a writing prompt at the end, usually just 2 words. I'll take the sort of adjective noun combination, because it's a little bit less zany and out there. But yeah, I think it's the challenge. It sort of opens you up to challenges, and just pushing yourself that bit further. But just the playfulness, I think I'm one of those people that I'm almost too disciplined. I can wear myself out. I've got this thing of, I'm determined, so determined to do something. I'll just hammer and hammer away at something. And Brainstoryum and using Exquisite Corpse reminds me to be playful, because short stories are our playground, really. And also it ties in with, I am very much a discovery writer. I know people like to say pantser, but as Brits, we know that pants are underwear. So why? What is this thing? My underwear.
It's always troubled me, that term. Always troubled me.
Well, discovery writer is a good alternative. And I feel that very much describes it, because you're sort of discovering what's in your mind. I've always loved that about writing, where you sit down and you may only have a little inkling of what you're going to write, but it's only through the act of writing when you actually start to almost force yourself to come out with something. So you've given yourself 20 minutes or whatever it is. It sort of challenges you, but at the same time you discover things, as you say, there you didn't know that you were thinking about. You didn't know that they were there in your mind. And so that is very much along the lines of what the surrealists were getting to. For them, they invented the game because they thought by using randomness, they were getting beyond the controlling influence of the conscious mind. So by opening yourself up to randomness, things that are utterly out of your control, you're sort of opening yourself up to the suggestiveness of the unconscious mind, which is very much in keeping with my thinking. And I love the psychologist Carl Jung as well. His ideas very much come into my writing as well.
And it's basically it's a human art form, because you can't replicate that artificially, because the subconscious and the unconscious is not something that can be programmed. It's something that is unique to humans. And that is why I love this approach to storytelling, because it is possibly one of the most unique expressions of story, in taking something that is purely random and allowing your subconscious to run with it and see what comes out at the end. I think that's absolutely amazing. And also, I have to thank Anna, because as a listener of Brainstoryum, I tried this approach and came up with a story that Anna was kind enough to feature on the show, and I included it in the collection of A Stitch Between Worlds, so you can read the outcome of that. And if you're a listener to Brainstoryum and you haven't picked up Portals and Immortals, you must. It's a must read. It's for anybody who wants to see what Anna has done with these story prompts and how she's converted them into stories. Final thing, Anna, I want to ask you about. You're a writer. You've got this approach. You require random words. Talk me through the thought process that starts there and that ends in, I'm going to create a fortnightly podcast.
Sheer desperation, actually. It came from, sounds very unlikely, and I can hardly remember it now, because I'm gradually coming out of long COVID. Been struggling for a while with that, and it was actually the sheer desperation of, I can't carry on just writing in the corner as isolated from other people. And also I really wanted to be able to put something out there on a regular basis that people could listen to and interact with and enjoy. So it was kind of like feeling trapped with illness and exhaustion, but whatever time I could snatch and whatever energy I could get, I wanted to plug it into something that was interactive and fun, and almost like you sort of gave me a deadline. It's just, again, I realised I'm just a little bit over disciplined, but I wanted to be able to put out something on a really regular basis, and ensure, it's insurance that you will bring out that you'll at least write a scene based on an Exquisite Corpse, because you have to, because the show's coming out then. So get a move on, sort of thing. So yeah, it's weird how that came about, but I originally was thinking of doing a YouTube channel, but I realized how much work that must be. And also the bags under my eyes were just epic. And I was like, there's no amount of makeup that could have covered up the bags under my eyes when I was that bad. I mean, it would have been the zombiechannel.com or whatever, you know, it would have been ridiculous. So yeah, I've been sort of hiding behind the microphone for a little while. But yeah, basically, to answer your question, sheer desperation, and a desire to create something on a regular basis that would naturally build up collections as it is now.
Yeah, I feel like the random authors own their zombie bags would probably be quite a good exquisite corpse. But I feel like that's what we do here, right, Holly? We just own the zombie bags under the eyes. It's like,
I mean, I feel like you're saying that I look like a zombie Frasier, which A is probably very accurate, but also I actually think that could really work from a marketing point of view. You know, to play the Book of the Exquisite Corpse on the Zombie Channel, you know, that could be a thing. I could see that taking off.
Yeah.
you do not look like a zombie, Holly. I'm gonna just throw that out there. You don't look undead. It's absolutely
Thanks, Frasier. That's what my husband says to me every day, just to reassure me. He's like, "You don't look like you." Yeah, you don't look like you've just died.
Yeah.
It's why my confidence is so high at all times.
No, it's a delight to have you on this YouTube channel, Anna, and for people to see you in person and to get to experience what is now going to be the first ever crossover episode of Spotlight Indie and Brainstoryum, because we're going to have the chance to play the Exquisite Corpse.
Yes. But did you want to hear? I think we talked about me sharing some of the weirdest examples, perhaps.
Yeah, talk us through this. Will whet our appetites for it.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of get a sense of it. So the structure of the sentence is describing word noun, action, describing word noun. So some of the more bizarre ones. Okay, in a recent episode, number 84, I had the bulbous lamp developed a conspiracy against the grumpy carnival manager. I use that. So besides, you have to step outside of don't be so strict about what the noun is. So bulbous lamp, I ended up taking to mean someone who could make lights come on, not through electricity, but just lights would flicker when he was around. So there's something strange about this person, and he has a conspiracy about. So he works at a carnival, and there's a conspiracy about this grumpy carnival manager. I did not know how to finish it. I basically wrote the first part of the story in that episode. And the next one, episode 85, the Exquisite Corpse was so ridiculous that I just laughed for about 10 minutes. And I thought, this is insane. I can't come up with something. I thought, no, I need something to tie off, like to develop and tie off this story. Like, what is the conspiracy about the carnival manager? Is he a monster or something? Because I've got, at the moment, I'm building up a collection with a theme of weird creatures. So I was like, I've got to have a monster. So in the end, I went for the Magdalen Oratory, which is like a small chapel, happily devoured the perspicuous blobfish. Again, so perspicuous, I had to look this up. Like my listeners are just, they make me look up words all the time. I learn so much from them. But perspicuous just means clearly expressed. And so it made me look up blobfish, find out what traits could I use and transfer into a created monster. So it was between that and a sinister frog. I literally had a choice. What am I going to use? And I did it. So he's a kind of blobfish. And you'll have to listen to it to find out what on earth I mean by that.
I absolutely adore, Anna. That bulbous lamp has like bulb, which is almost like a pun on light. Those two words coming together, what are the chances, right?
I know, you get these weird coincidences, and also you get opposites. So in the second one, the Magdalen Oratory, so really miserable, self-pitying, happily devoured. So there's like happiness and a maudlin mood in one. So you do get really weird coincidences and things like that. But I tell you what, if you play it in person, you get a lot more of that. People's minds start to connect. Okay. And that's actually one of the funniest games you can play in person. It's one thing listening to me laughing my head off and then thinking, what am I going to do? It's another thing if you play it in person. And in fact, if you go to my how page at annatizard.com, there's a downloadable game sheet with instructions, so you can print it off and play it in person, which is just one of the funniest ways to spend an afternoon. But I also had, so in one show, I also had two that came up, and I'm currently writing a story, even though this was ages ago. This was episode 44, which was the Christmas special 2023. See, this is why I have an Excel spreadsheet. In the same show, I had The Hidden Pavement 8, The Bamboozled Accordionist. So you have this idea of the pavement opening up and swallowing a busker.
Yes. I mean, who hasn't done that?
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't experienced that on a Sunday afternoon in town? But also,
I can just imagine if that happened, just a resounding cry of like, finally. Like,
He was rubbish.
Oh. So in the same, so I had this idea as well with the hidden pavement, this idea of almost like a town underneath the town, a city underneath the city, like the old city or something that is coming alive and becoming monstrous. And in the same show, I also got the plump herbalist compiled an index of the gullible lampposts. So the lampposts are in on it. They've been convinced to be in on it. So I brought the two together, and I'm trying to battle that out at the moment. But yeah,
I love it.
I
love it. And so in order to, for this special episode, what we've done is the Spotlight Indie team have provided specific words that have been fed into the Socks of Destiny, and Anna is going to make the Socks of Destiny's on-screen debut, and she's going to draw the words for us, and we're going to bat around story ideas based on what they come up with. I feel like as you get them, Anna, one of us needs to go like do 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 do.
I could put it in post ads. I could put some cool music over. I will just say as well, before we start this, having now worked with Frasier for best part of a year and getting to know how his mind works, I am a little bit worried about what's going to come out of these socks now.
And weirdly, I'm less worried because I know that Frasier's brain works in exactly the right way to be able to imagine all of these things. But yeah, just to warn you, like they don't all make for good writing prompts, but when they don't, you just sit and laugh. I mean, they're just funny. So yes, I have the Socks of Destiny. So this one, they're all sort of spotty. This one is the describing word sock.
Wow. You know, I never pictured that for describing words.
This is the noun sock.
Nice.
Because there are more spots, and I always think, well, there are many things in this world. Things, therefore nouns, therefore the noun sock is the one with the extras. And because for each submission that you do, you have 2 describing words, 2 nouns, and 1 action. So there are fewer actions. You've got to have the bigger sock, right? So the biggest sock is for the action, okay? Because that's just the way it is.
I love your sister. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Seeing them all as spots has blown my mind. I thought there would be like spot stripe plain, but they're all spots.
They're all spots. Yeah. And of course, none of them match because socks don't work like that. You know, I was saying the other day, I've realised that I would happily put an uneven, an odd number of socks into the wash in the faith that another one will go missing and then they'll be even again. You know, that's just the way it works. You just have to accept the way socks work.
Yeah, that's it.
I feel like because they're all spots, I feel like the sentence belongs together. I feel like maybe it would be too disconnected if you were having a spot sock, a striped sock, and a plain sock.
Okay.
Or maybe you need a spiral sock.
Spiral.
Spiral socks. That's a great idea because if when I go and do any live events, I'm going to need some bigger socks. Okay?
Yes.
And so, and the only way initially I'm thinking I'm just going to have to get like big Christmas stockings because they're the only large socks that you'll come across. But Yeah, I think the spiral one would be fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a great alternative, like reality version of Jaws, isn't it? It's like, we're gonna need some bigger socks.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So, are we ready to play?
Yeah.
I think we're ready to play. So, as I said, I've cleared out all my listeners' words to put in our words. So, I am reaching into the describing word sock. And this is, first word is bullish. So, I'm going to write these down because it's difficult to keep in your head and there'll be scraps of paper all over the place and we won't know what's going on. So, bullish. Second word from the noun sock. Ooh, some of them are getting stuck together. Sphinx. Okay. So this is from Greek mythology. Human's head, lion's body, and bird's wings. So a bullish sphinx. Action sock. There's not much in here because it's the action. This is folded.
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting.
Ooh.
What does that mean? Okay. Right, just keep going. Always keep going if you don't know what's going on. Just keep going, keep going.
So far we've got the bullish sphinx folded.
Folded.
Mm.
The whimsical.
Mm.
Whimsical. And last word on the noun sock. I saw the word spotlight. I was like, no, that's because it's for spotlight. Deer. As
Deer.
Oh,
deer.
okay.
The bullish sphinx folded the whimsical deer.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I feel like there's a second layer of game here in that we could try and guess which members of the Spotlight team chose which words as well.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good idea. That's good. So I'm thinking, first of all, like, this is like a battle between, like, animals, mythological and real. So you've got some kind of conflict between, sort of, between the two. I think that, like, the bullish sphinx is like one of many sphinxes, and this one is particularly like confident, like, I'm the sphinx.
Yes,
like, where all the
lead
rest are
sphinx of the
sphinxes.
war. Yeah.
Is that
I love
sphinx is
that
the plural
idea.
for sphinx? Is that
What's that?
is sphinx is the plural for sphinx? Is it sphinxi?
So.
Sphinxes?
No, I would have thought it's sphinxes.
Yeah, I guess.
So I think what's happened is that there's a beauty contest in the wood, and the bullish sphinx comes along, and the deer is full of whimsy and is just sort of like, charming the judges. So in order to get ahead, it just comes along and just takes it and just goes, and that's it. That's the story. It's just like, there you go, get out of that one. No amount of whimsy can put you back to rights, dear.
Yes.
Like,
ooh, I'm thinking whimsical deer. That actually could be a story. This could be like a book, because if you folded it, it's like closing a book. But it was really weird how you picked up on what is the pluralization, because obviously deer has an unusual pluralization. It's the same. So we could be talking about multiple deer here. So I think you're right about the armies.
Wow.
See, I was going with the not quite the book idea, but I was thinking along the lines of paper. So in my interpretation, the folding the whimsical deer is literally origami. So creating an origami deer for perhaps the Sphinx's child before he goes off to, on his quest or his adventure. So it's the final gift that is given before he leaves to do his Sphinx things that Sphinxes do.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Ancient Egypt. Go with me on this. Ancient
Yeah.
Egypt, right? You've got lots of different sphinxes that are going to be modeled for the Sphinx, right? And it's kind of like which Sphinx are we going to base it on? And they have like a talent section, like the Miss World, and they're trying to get down to so they're doing it as a talent competition, and the one that's most confident, their talent is origami, and so they fold the whimsical deer. Yeah, with the big
Yeah.
paws, they fold it up, which would be impressive, right?
It
And
would
as soon
be
as they see the
impressive.
whimsical deer, they think this is the one. This is it.
One.
And that's why the Sphinx looks so cocky. Like, because it's
Because you
just
won.
like, I won. I won already. Immortalized.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's quickly pull another one and see
Okay, yeah.
if this is any crazier or makes any more sense. So this one is Raging, because that's why it doesn't have to be. Oh, there's a cat. Hello.
Sorry. It's just passing through.
The Sphinx in our midst.
It is, yeah.
Does your
Oh,
cat
my
do
goodness.
origami, Holly?
I think she tries to, especially with toilet paper. But the only thing she ever makes is a mess. So, but it might be a deer in her eyes. Like,
Yeah, that's it. She's acting
Maybe
it out
that's what
every
she's
day.
trying to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the Raging Snail.
Imagine it like throwing a tantrum, like in very slowly. Like,
That's rage. That is road rage.
yeah.
the
How
walls
dare you? Emptied the what?
Painted the walls with
Ooh.
or for? I don't know. This is like a really angry snail. This is like extremely violent snail with rage problems.
I've got to paint. It's like,
Ooh, jubilant.
yeah.
And the final word is, who is this victim of a raging snail? A jubilant evidence.
Ooh.
okay.
The raging snail painted the walls with the jubilant evidence.
Evidence.
Oh, okay.
Oh, something to do with. So it doesn't have to be a literal snail. Maybe it's someone who's a bit sweaty or something, very slow.
Maybe there's like a criminal, like a mob, and like they've all got nicknames, and this one is
yeah.
like, I'm the snail.
The
Because
snail.
like, yeah, because
So
nobody
thinking
throws the salt at
that.
me.
I was thinking that, but I was thinking more maybe the raging snail. Maybe that's a building, so it could be a meeting point, or it could be a tavern or a bar. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Or it could be like a boxer. Like I think that would be, and then
Or wrestler.
or a wrestler, yeah. I think there's got to be some kind of crime that's committed though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think
Which
like
is-
going
yeah.
mob. I'm thinking mob, criminal gangs. Yeah.
What makes evidence jubilant?
Well,
I think it could be
that proves
maybe
something.
like the brightness of it. You know, so I mean, a very bright red or blood could be described as jubilant. You know, if you're happy someone's died
Mm.
because they're your enemy, it would
Maybe
feel
they
pretty
Planting
killed.
jubilant.
evidence. He's planting evidence. He's painted the walls. He's
Yes.
plastered the walls of this meeting point, as you said, Holly, with evidence to, convict someone.
Yeah,
So it's all
it's
about
death
criminal underworld.
by confetti cuts, and that's why he's called the snail, because they die very slowly, and that's it. That's the raging snail. He's like,
Right.
I'm going to kill you with confetti, and then he's planting the confetti everywhere as if it's suicide.
See, this is the exact thing I meant when I said I know how Frasier's mind works.
Yeah.
Suicide by confetti. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's how I've done it. I'm just keep throwing it at myself until the end.
Wow.
The calling card of the raging snail.
I totally see that. The
Getting
BBC
weird.
are going to be like, can we option this for a series? Like,
Yep.
It's like Peaky Blinders, but jazzy.
But with snails. Oh dear.
Yeah, that would work.
That was amazing. That was great.
That's a good
So
one.
yeah, that's how the Exquisite Corpse works, right?
how it
We got
works.
2 solid stories, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I expect to see them next week.
Yeah, for all the Brainstoryum listeners, yeah, send Anna the
Send us some
results, some
That's
words,
it.
some of the story.
Yeah.
And give your own interpretation. So the two that came from it, do you want to read them back for us, Anna?
Yes. So the bullish sphinx folded the whimsical deer, and the raging snail painted the walls with the jubilant evidence.
Ooh.
Really,
Oh.
really.
Jubilant evidence. That's so weird.
Okay, just bear with me on this. What if the bullish sphinx and the raging snail were rivals, and
Rival
the
gangs.
origami deer is the calling card of the bullish sphinx, and the jubilant evidence is the calling card of the raging snail?
Yes, that's what I'm going with it. I'm going with there's like a gangland hit, right?
Yes.
And the evidence is the fact that they're trying to frame the bullish sphinx for this,
This is
and
it.
it's like, and it's not, because the bullish sphinx has been folding the deer. So what they've done is they've taken the deer, and that's what they're painting the walls with. The jubilant
Framing him.
evidence.
Yeah.
Framing to say
yeah.
like, well, that's your alibi gone. This is gang warfare.
Turf
It
war.
really is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you know what? That is Jazzy Peaky Blinders right there.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen. This is
Coming
it.
to Netflix 2028.
Yes. The Sphinx. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
What? I'm sorry. No, we're not going to move past that, Frasier. What was that?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of what accent Peaky Blinders is.
Was that you trying to do a Brummy accent?
It's more Brummy.
Speaking,
Raging Snail.
speaking as and on behalf of all people in the West Midlands, stop it.
I didn't notice the accent. It was just like the high pitchedness. I was thinking.
Oh, sorry. The bullish Sphinx. There you go.
And also, that's Dudley, not Birmingham.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
But it could be St Dudley. It could be the rival to Peaky Blinders.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Apologies to all Brummies.
And Dudley.
And apologies to everyone from Dudley who's not a Brummie. And apologies to snails who rage.
I was going to say,
and sphinxes. Yeah, I apologise all
rage under
around, okay?
control, you know.
It was a mistake.
This is how we end every episode, Anna. It's just with Frasier giving a long list of apologies.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Just before we conclude, because obviously we have another game that we like to play with our guests, which is Roll for Insight. And it would be a shame to have you on and not roll for insight, Anna. So I believe that you've brought your very own specially made dice. So me and Holly, we have had fun.
I need to just go and grab it, though. I hope
Oh,
that's
yeah.
okay.
Go for it.
Give me a moment.
I am very excited. This is probably the most creative use of a not dice item as a dice I have ever seen.
I can't even tell you how excited I am. It's like an Exquisite Corpse, right? The orange dice. Oh, it's like it's amazing.
I am back.
We've ramped up the anticipation now.
Yeah.
The orange.
I love it. I love it. It's a dice, and you can have a snack afterwards.
Yeah.
What's not to love?
Yeah.
Keeps you going through your D&D session. It's like, yeah.
Absolutely.
So Hannah, would you like to roll the orange?
I shall roll the orange now.
There's a sentence you never thought you'd say.
Brand new sentences. That's what I'm all about. Brand new sentences have never been uttered before. Number 17.
Number 17. So the question for number 17 is, this is probably going to be quite a lot because of the Exquisite Corpse, but how many books do you have in your to-be-written pile? And tell us a little bit about them.
Oh my goodness. I try not to look too far ahead because it drives me crazy. At the moment, I'm focusing on my next one, which will be the 4th in the book of Exquisite Corpse, based around weird creatures. So I'm hoping to release that. Well, I'm hoping sometime later this year, but we'll see if I can manage to do that. It's a lot of stories that need developing. Beyond that, I do have a novel that I worked on for a ludicrous length of time when I was younger and ended up having to put aside, and I want to return to that. That's kind of very weird, post-apocalyptic, very trippy kind of thing. In a way, I started moving to short stories and Exquisite Corpse to sort of maybe learn more and improve my craft, so that I could go back and rewrite this book knowing so much more, hopefully, and having more confidence to write that. So in the immediate, in what I can foresee, I would say there are three, in fact, because there's a novella that is spinning off from that novel as well, but it's all a matter of right timing and things like that. But yeah, I mean, the Book of Exquisite Corpse is one of those things. It could be evergreen, and in fact, you've reminded me. One day I would very much like to put together an anthology to invite authors to write Exquisite Corpse stories, but it would be on a theme, and see if I can sort of have a common thread running through it. That's something I'd really, really like to do. So then let's call that four.
That's
for now.
Exciting. That's very exciting. I love the sound of that. What about you, Holly?
Oh, so on my to be written, it's slowly expanding, which is a bit worrying because I haven't finished the stories that I am currently trying to finish, which obviously is familiar story to all authors. But I'm hoping to get the third book in the Vanguard series finished, hopefully at least finished to go to the editor before the end of this year. Unlikely that it will be finished, but I am working on that at the moment. I've also got 2 origin stories set in the Vanguard Chronicle world. So I've got the origin of Hector Mandego and the origin of Taran Learsac on the go, which are both going to be novellas, like quite long novellas. So they are currently also being worked on. And then I have a novel which I started about a year ago, which I put on the back burner, which is based on the concept of the Lord of Misrule, which is an ancient tradition from what was the medieval winter festivals, or their what we would now call Christmas. So they would have a person who would be nominated for the period of the festivities, and they would go and live at the court, and their job would basically to be in charge of tricks and japes and practical jokes. And it was generally like some peasant or some kind of poorer person, and they would go and live amongst the nobility and be given fine clothes and food and drink for the period of 2 or 3 months, whatever it was, and then go back to their normal life. So, and I thought that was a great concept for a novel. So that's in the works. And there's currently 4 or 5 people who are trying desperately to persuade me to do another Hallows book, but I remain yet to be convinced on that one. But I'm teetering at the minute.
Do it.
Don't you start, Frasier.
That also is very exciting.
It's just the snail speaking,
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like if you've not read any of the Exquisite Corpse books, go catch up. Read The Empty Danger, read Eye for Immortality, read Portals and Immortals. If you've not read any of Holly's books, go catch up. Read Vanguard, read the Hollows. Hallows. And I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. I know it's Hallows. But I was like, did she say Hollows? Have I been misreading it this entire time? No, read the Hallows. Read everything Holly's put out there. Just go catch up because they're amazing. And then you'll be ready for what's next on the To Be Written. So that's all good.
What about you, Frasier?
Oh, well, I've got like 50 stories outlined. I'm currently in the middle of writing. I've got my next 6 books planned. So I've on my technically my To Be Written pile is 6. So, which is better than 50, right? So, more doable.
It feels more achievable, yeah.
So, because what happens, I start stories. I'm like a serial starter. And then I'm like, I've got another story idea now. And then, I've got another story idea. So...
But if you keep an Excel spreadsheet, and often I find there is a point where a story runs out of steam and you've got to let it rest before you come back. So as long as you've sort of clocked it And maybe I also write a little editorial note for myself at the top, just so that when I come back, I know what on earth is going on. It's much quicker for me to get back into it. So that's okay. That's okay, because if you come back to it, then you'll see it with fresh eyes, and you'll be able to make an even better job of finishing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Holly, can you roll for us, please?
I can. That is number 3.
Number 3. It's the magic number.
Mm.
What is your favourite font and why?
Ooh. I'm not sure. I think I switch between, for writing in, Times New Roman or Calibri or Calibri. I always have this voice in my head going, Calibri, it's Calibri. I just like really plain fonts that don't draw attention to themselves. That's why. It's just the silent font. So the silent font did not distract. The Raging Snail.
You have even consciously, your combinations are so good. It's like... What about you, Holly?
So I have a couple of different fonts that I like to use for different things. So just to add some context to this question, because all of our questions do seem very silly on the surface, or at least most of them do, but there is actually a purpose to them. So for different elements of writing and editing, I tend to use different fonts so that I see them differently each time. So my Kindle is currently, anything on there is in a Garamond. I do enjoy a Garamond. And then I write in an Aptos, which is quite a nice plain text. And then I will edit in a Roboto, which is very similar to the Aptos, but slightly different. So it just tricks your mind into seeing it a little bit differently each time.
I like it. Everybody loves a Garamond, Holly.
Who doesn't love a Garamond?
I do like a Garamond. I think I might publish in Garamond, actually. I'm not quite sure. It's something beginning with G.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think a lot of mine are as well. Yeah.
I write in Arial or Times New Roman, depending on what I'm writing, and then I convert it all into Spectral for editing, and that's what I publish in. So I'm a Spectral guy.
Spectral guy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Actually, you've reminded me, talking about fonts, I've just remembered I did do an episode of Brainstoryum all about fonts, because if you start looking up fonts, like specialist fonts where you can sort of buy them or whatever on the internet, they have really strange names that feel like Exquisite Corpses. And I cannot remember like when exactly it was I did it, but I called the show Anna Tizard and the Fonts of Doom. So
I like
if you want to hear about some really weird fonts, that is an episode to listen to, because they were really hilarious. I wrote to the guy. This is one particular guy. I think he called himself Pizza Dude for whatever reason. And I wrote to him about it. I was like, hey, these fonts are amazing, and I think they're amazing because of this. And he wrote back to me a little bit, but then he went quiet, and I thought I just weirded him out completely about his own artwork, in effect. So
I would love one day someone to make a typewriter, but all of the keys are wingdings. I think that would be absolutely amazing.
Why would you do that to someone?
Why?
Just great. The wingding typewriter. Right, I'm rolling. Oh, I rolled a 3. That's crazy. And then another 3.
All the 3s today.
I know, right? Now I'm on a 12.
Okay.
Whew. We didn't want like 4 3s, did we? Which is 12.
That is 12.
And 1 add 2 is 3. Or
it's a conspiracy. We've
anyway.
just unearthed.
If you could pick one trope to feed to the dragon you keep in your dungeon so it never appears again, what would it be?
Oh,
good lord. Oh,
is that the name of your dragon?
No. Oh, I've gone a bit blank. The only thing I can think of is I'm kind of it's a bit Marmite even with me, is the chosen one. But I don't think I could in reality feed that to the dragon, because I like to flip it. And I like to there's a story I'm working on where there's a question as to, you know, should we destroy this myth? Do you know what I mean? And putting a character in a situation where they're presented with that idea, there's some kind of chosen one, but they don't believe it, and maybe it's not true. It's just like a weird myth. They have to deal with other people's mythologies and the pressure that puts on them. So it's weird. I'd sort of like to feed it to a dragon, because it does annoy me a little bit, because it's been overused. I think use it with care if you're going to use it, because it's really well used. But at the same time, I still want to mess around with it a bit, but as in a lot.
Yeah.
Just basically tangle it all up and then hand it back and say, there, it's screwed up now.
Yeah.
You can't use it like you could use it before, because I did something weird to it.
You could feed it to the dragon. Then the dragon could poop it out.
It up.
Yeah, and then...
Do you know what? That's one way. That's like a metaphor for what it is I'm kind of planning in a way.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what about you, Holly? What's your trope that you would feed to your dragon?
I think all tropes have got their place. So again, it comes down to how well you use them and what you do with them. But I think, you know, to permanently get rid of tropes are tropes for a reason. That they're because they are perpetually popular with certain people for different reasons. So I think that I would feed the trope of feeding things to the dragon, and encourage people to think, in what other ways could you use your dragon? You know, could you use it as a tank, for example, to bulldoze through walls? You know, could you have it fly your enemies very high up into the sky and then drop them from a great height? Why is it always about the eating? These dragons have been eating people and things for centuries. They're stuffed. They don't want any more. It is time to think outside the box.
They've got such bad acid reflux. That's where the fire comes from. Yeah.
They do.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, there's just dragons all over just going, I just can't possibly eat another person.
Yeah.
Just give me some broccoli, please. Yeah.
I think the trope that I would like to feed to the dragon the most is the I'm gonna call it the special tool trope, where the hero gets into trouble and there's no way out, and they then suddenly produce this magical thing that does absolutely everything that gets them out of the trouble, and it holds no logic to what that thing has done before. I think that's the trope that I would probably feed to the dragon the most, because, and especially in sci-fi, it's a very difficult line to draw. Like I've co-written a book with somebody, and we have this specific. It's going to be coming out at some point down the line, but there's this very specific technology that's there, and we had to work really hard to set the limits on the technology, because we didn't want it to just be a magical device that could get people out of trouble. So, but that to me, like, is the quickest thing that will take people out of their suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
It's like, you've got to have in-universe reasons for why this thing does the thing. And it's not just like...
difficult. It's got to be difficult. Yeah. It's something that is imperfect and could go wrong, and there's risks attached to it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you can't have, like, in a TV show, 40 minutes of random running around, being chased by the bad guy, and then in the last 40 seconds, like, oh, look at this, ring, done. I've had it in my pocket the whole time. Like, that does not make good TV, right? Yeah. So that's my trope that I would ban, the special tool of specialness that makes you a tool for using its specialness.
The tool
Oh
convenience.
Yeah.
Which actually, it can work in a comedic context, I think, because I don't know if you have ever seen it. There is a show called Gallivant, which is hilarious. It's basically musical fantasy comedy, and there is just this one scene where something terrible has happened to the main character, and they're all running around trying to help, and they find themselves in a place called the Forest of Convenience, and they're going, if only we had a horse, and then a horse just walks past. So used like that, it can work.
Yeah. But I feel like the Forest of Convenience is that tool. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Anna, thank you so much for joining us, for playing Roll for Insight, for letting us play Exquisite Corpse with you, for helping us get an insight into your working and the way that you tell stories. And if anybody's been inspired by you and wants to find out more, where can they reach you?
Just go to annatizard.com and just have a nose around. Send me some words, have a listen. Yeah.
I love
Thank
it.
you very much for having me.
It's been great. And this
Yeah,
is not
it was fun.
this is not the last we'll see of you, because next week we are going to be having you again so you can help us to prove that there is no such thing as a stupid question. So we will see you then. Holly, where can people find you?
People can find me on X and Blue Sky as @Holly Tinsley, and the E in Tinsley is a 3. You can also find me at all of the Spotlight social channels, which is X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can find us at spotlightindie.co.uk. We have our Indie Author Summer campaigns currently running, so we are spotlighting a individual indie author every day between now and the end of August. So come and have a look each morning at 11 o'clock to find a new indie author and take a look at their books. And we have got lots of things coming up on the channel which are very exciting, which I can't think of at the moment. And also I want to have an air of mystery, so I won't tell you about them, but they will be there.
Good time, yeah.
And you all know where to find me at Frasier Armitage everywhere, or FrasierArmitage.com, or on here. So yeah, I mean, if you've come here, then you know where to find me, right? So well done. And we will see you next time on Spotlight Indie.